So if you're looking for a small portable Bluetooth speaker for summer 2025, you actually have a lot of new options to choose from. First off, there is the brand new JBL Flip 7, which is just released in the spring. And then there's the Bose SoundLink Flex Gen 2, which came out in the winter. We also have the Beats Pill, which came out last year, and we also have the Sony ULT Field 1. So today we're going to compare all four of these speakers, and we're going to see which one's right for you. Regarding pricing, we're in a bit of a weird place here because of inflation. Now, the JBL Flip 7, Bose Flex 2, and the Beats Pill all retail for $150, whereas the Sony ULT Field 1 has a retail price of $130. Now, I do expect all of these speakers to go on sale on a regular basis. Nonetheless, if you want to pick any of these speakers up, they'll be linked down below, or you can always press on the YouTube shopping button. And if you want to further support the channel, then you can always pick up some merch. So first, there is the design of these speakers. Now, all four of these speakers are small, durable, and waterproof. However, both the JBL and Sony have a mostly fabric wrap body, so they aren't going to get as scratched as easily, whereas the Bose has a powder-coated front plate, and the Beats Pill has a plastic front plate, so these speakers can get scratched up very easily. However, they do feel very premium because of their silicone-wrapped bodies. But more importantly, when it comes to portability, the Beats Pill, Bose Flex, and JBL Flip 7 all have a loop or a strap so that you can easily attach these speakers to something and you can hang them from something. And the Flip 7 is being a little extra because you can actually swap out this loop for a carabiner. But ultimately, I don't feel that this new feature is super useful or important. But with the Sony ULT Field 1, I actually like the system better because you can either have a loop so you can attach the speaker to your backpack, or you can also use it as a carrying handle. Overall, the JBL Flip 7 is the smallest speaker here and is super easy to take on the go with you. But I think the Sony ULT Field 1 is the most comfortable speaker here to travel with because of its convertible carrying handle. But one minor detail to keep in mind here is that with all of these speakers, they have exposed USB-C ports except for the Sony. So if you're planning on taking any of these speakers to somewhere where they're might gonna get wet, like let's say the beach or the pool, then you might want to go with the Sony, because with the Sony, you don't have to wait for the speaker to be completely dry before you can charge it. And I know that this is a very specific problem, but I am pointing it out because this is something that I would have to deal with my JBL speakers whenever I would take them to the beach or the lake. Now, when it comes to battery life, the Beats Pill easily has all of these other speakers beat because it has an advertised battery life of 24 hours. However, this advertised battery life of 24 hours is with this speaker playing at 50% volume, and in general, this speaker is very quiet for its size and especially its price. So with this speaker, it's very likely that you're going to have to use it at a higher volume on a regular basis, and real-world use with this speaker playing at 90% volume is good for around 9 hours of playback time. But then there are both the Sony ULT Field 1 and the Bose Flex 2, which have an advertised battery life of 12 hours, and the JBL Flip 7 has an advertised battery life of 14 hours with its stamina mode turned off. And the Sony also has a stamina mode. But more importantly, real-world use with all of these speakers playing at 80% volume, both the Bose and Sony are good for around 7 hours of playback time, and the JBL is good for around 8 hours of playback time. And like I mentioned earlier, all of these speakers charge via a USB-C port as they should. However, with both the JBL Flip 7 and the Beats Pill, you can also use these USB-C ports as a wired connection. And with the Beats Pill, you can also use this USB-C port to charge your own devices, which is super useful, and you can't do that with any of these other smaller speakers. But when it comes to Bluetooth connectivity, all of these speakers can be connected to 2 devices at the same time, so you and a friend can both be DJ. Latency is not an issue for any of these speakers, so you can use them to watch videos with on your phone. And when it comes to audio codecs, all of these speakers have support for SBC and AAC. But wait, if you want to further support the channel, then check out our affiliate partner, Therabody, specifically the Theragun Prime Plus. Now, I've been using the Theragun Prime Plus for the last 4 months, and before that, I was using the Theragun Mini for over 3 years. Honestly, these Theraguns have changed my life. I use them at least 2 times a day. In the morning, they help loosen me up and improve my flexibility, so I can more easily move around my day much more comfortably, and they also help prevent injuries while at the gym. And at night, I like to use them before going to bed because I'm able to go to sleep feeling a lot more relaxed and less tense, and overall, the Theragun Prime Plus really helps alleviate soreness, and it helps speed up recovery thanks to the heated ball attachment, which not only gives your muscles a deep tissue massage, it also applies a lot of heat, which helps improve circulation. My Theragun Prime Plus is one of my most important pieces of tech in the house. It's literally up there with my phone. So if you want to try out the Theragun Prime Plus, use our link down below for an easy 30-day trial. Honestly, I can't recommend this product enough. But with all that out of the way, let's talk about sound. Now, regarding speaker setup, the Bose has the most basic setup here. It has a single front firing driver and dual passive radiators that shoot out the front and out the back. Whereas the Beats Pill has a woofer and a tweeter setup, but no passive radiators. And then there are both the JBL Flip 7 and the Sony ULT Field 1, which both have front firing woofer, a front firing tweeter, and dual passive radiators that shoot out the sides. And the fact that the Beats, Sony, and JBL all have a woofer and tweeter setup is a big deal, because this is going to help with overall instrument separation. So like you have just seen, the woofer handles the mids and the tweeter handles the highs. So this is going to help the Sony, JBL, and Beats all have better instrument separation, and they're all going to sound more open. But now we're going to go ahead and jump into the sound test. Now, all of these speakers are running with their stock EQs, and they're all playing at 75% volume.
We both know it right away. I came here to party, don't want it to end. Getting real ecstatic. We both know it right away. When I see you dancing, I know you're a 10. It's some kind of magic. We both know it right away. I came here to party, don't want it to end. Getting real ecstatic. I feel this vibe goes from my heart right to my fingertips. My fingertips. Oh, I need tell me now how much you're into me. Oh, right away. I feel this vibe goes from my
So first, let's address both the Bose SoundLink Flex 2 and the Beats Pill, because I think these are the two least impressive sounding speakers here. First off, with the Bose, since this speaker lacks a tweeter, like these other three speakers, this speaker sounds the least open and it leans towards a warmer sound signature. It has a lot of bass, but it sounds a little muffled by comparison. But then there is the Beats Pill, which does have a tweeter, so this speaker sounds a lot more open than the Bose. However, since this speaker is missing those passive radiators, it doesn't have all that much kick in its bass, so this speaker isn't as fun to listen to. But then there are both the JBL Flip 7 and the Sony ULT Field 1, which both have a front-mount firing woofer, a front-mount firing tweeter, and dual passive radiators. So both of these speakers sound as open as the Beats Pill, but both of these speakers have a lot of bass like the Bose Flex 2. So personally, I think sound quality comes down to the JBL Flip 7 versus Sony ULT Field 1, and the Bose and Beats Pill are irrelevant here. And personally, I feel that the Sony ULT Field 1 sounds better than the JBL Flip 7 because it has better definition in the mids, and at higher volumes the Sony sounds fuller than the JBL. Whereas with the JBL Flip 7, I feel that JBL is pushing their newer speakers, both the JBL Flip 7 and the JBL Charge 6, a little too hard, and sometimes you might hear a little bit of distortion in the highs, but on rare occasions. I know that you didn't hear it during the sound test, but I have experienced a little bit of distortion in the highs in my private listening. And then there's max volume performance. Now with the Beats Pill, this is the quietest speaker here. Like I mentioned earlier, I feel that this speaker, you're gonna have to use it at a higher volume on a regular basis, and as a result, your battery life is going to drain faster. And at max volume, I can't help but feel unsatisfied, but I guess this is what your girlfriend feels like on a regular basis. Whereas the Bose does get a little louder, but again, the speaker leans towards a warmer sound signature, so it won't perform as well while outdoors. And then there are both of the Sony and JBL. Now the JBL Flip 7 gets impressively loud for its size, and since it leans towards a slightly brighter sound signature, it's actually going to perform very well while outdoors because those higher frequencies are going to be able to travel out farther. And then there's the Sony ULT Field 1, which gets as loud as the JBL Flip 7, but I think this speaker sounds fuller because of the stronger mids, and it does have slightly more bass. Overall, when it comes to sound quality, I think the Beats Pill and Bose SoundLink Flex 2 fall short, and the only two that really matter here are the JBL Flip 7 and the Sony ULT Field 1. And ultimately, I do think that the Sony ULT Field 1 sounds better than the JBL Flip 7 because distortion is never an issue, and this speaker sounds fuller at those higher volumes because it has slightly stronger mids and a little bit more kick in space. But regardless, I think both the JBL and the Sony sound great, and I think they're both going to be good for, like, let's say an 8-person get-together. But finally, let's talk about pairing these speakers up with other speakers. Now, with all of these speakers, if you have two of the exact same speakers, then you can wisely pair them up and get them to play in left and right stereo mode. And with both the Beats Pill and Sony ULT Field 1, that's it. Unfortunately, the Sony ULT Field 1 does not have Party Connect, so you can't pair it up to any other Sony speakers. Now, with the Bose Flex 2, you can pair it up to a Bose SoundLink Max or a Bose Flex 2, but you can only have a total of 2 speakers wirelessly connected to one another. But finally, there's the JBL Flip 7, which is using Auracast, so you can pair it up to other JBL speakers that are also using Auracast, like let's say a Charge 6 or an Extreme 4, another Flip 7 or a Clip 5 or to a Go 4, or to any of JBL's newer party boxes which are also using Auracast, like either a Party Box Encore 2 or a Party Box 120, 320, 520, or a Party Box Ultimate. And also with Auracast, you can pair your JBL Flip 7 to non-JBL speakers that are also using Auracast. So with the JBL Flip 7, it's a lot more versatile if you plan on growing your collection of speakers, or if you actually have friends and maybe they might have speakers that are also using Auracast. However, with the JBL Flip 7, you cannot pair it up to any of JBL's older speakers that are using Party Boost. Only the JBL Extreme 4 can connect to both Auracast speakers and Party Boost speakers, and I don't know if the JBL Flip 7 is going to be getting a firmware update in the future to be able to do this. So if you have any of JBL's older Party Boost speakers, then you'll actually might want to spring for the JBL Extreme 4 if you don't want your older Party Boost speakers to go to waste. But with all that being said, if you're trying to choose between any of these speakers, for me, it's a little difficult to recommend either the Bose Flex 2 or the Beats Pill in this lineup. From a sound quality standpoint, the Bose sounds muffled and the Beats Pill lacks kick in its bass. Personally, I think it ultimately comes down to JBL Flip 7 versus the Sony ULT Field 1. And personally, I do prefer the Sony ULT Field 1 here because first off, it is the most affordable speaker here, but I also think the speaker sounds the best because it has a good instrument separation, the mids are very well detailed, it has a lot of bass, and distortion is never a problem. Plus, I like the design of the carrying strap. I do feel that it's more versatile. However, if you need something smaller or something that is going to be able to pair up to your imaginary friend's speakers, then you might want to go with the JBL Flip 7. But ultimately, I still feel that both the Bose Flex 2 and the Beats Pill are hard to justify when you have these other two better options to consider. If you made it this far, I guess you enjoyed the video, so hit the like button and get subscribed. If you want to pick any of the products up, they'll be linked down below. And if you want to further support the channel, check out the merch. I made some shirts and hoodies that look and feel great. And you know I can be very particular, so I'll only slap my name on something if I'm really proud of it.